Good day, everyone. We are the Group 3 and we are going to report about the pattern spiral in our nature. Spiral is a curved pattern that focuses on a center point and a series of circular shapes that revolve around it. Examples of spirals are the pine cones, pineapple, and hurricane. The spiral is a popular pattern for those who like to draw and design, and it is also one of the nature's most common configurations. In fact, it's difficult to think of all the things that have a spiral pattern. Snail shells, flower petals, pine cones, snakes, storms, DNA, curly hair, even galaxies are spiral. And that's not even nearly all. There are so many.
Hi everyone, I am Srija. Today I am telling you the secrets of the stunning leaf patterns in plants. We can open up those secrets with math. It might appear that plants grow in a random way, popping out leaves in one big green jumble. Take a closer look and you will find that a few regular patterns pop up all over the natural world. They range from the balanced spaces of bamboo shoots to the spirals of succulents like aloe vera. Math can say how plants will grow. Number patterns can apply to plants. Scientists have studied leaf patterns. Their study has the idea that leaves protect their own space. Leaves send a signal to other leaves. It is to keep them from growing nearby. Scientists have used this to make models that can create patterns. The Fibonacci sequence is one pattern. It's a set of numbers that applies to plants. The Fibonacci sequence is a math pattern. A number can be found by adding up the two numbers before it. It helps explain the design of pine cones and more. Some leaf patterns do not fit the models. They have been leading models for several years. And that's all for today. Thank you.
Why are spirals so abundant in nature? No one can say for certain, but a possible answer is because spirals are the smart way to grow. Golden ratio refers to a simple equation that translates to mean two quantities are in the golden ratio if the ratio between them is the same as the ratio of their sum to the larger of the two quantities, or A over B is equals to open parenthesis A plus B close parenthesis over A. In visual art like painting and photography, the golden ratio is used in composition because it is considered aesthetically pleasing.
The Fibonacci spiral. Once you have your squares, you can use them to trace a perfect spiral by drawing a curve from corner to corner. When this is applied to nature, say something like a flower, each petal would develop a factor of the golden ratio from the last petal, allowing a spiral to form. While we can't be entirely sure why something grows in a spiral, it could be a matter of efficiency. A spiral is an excellent way to maximize space. If you consider the arrangement of seeds on a sunflower, the spiral is the best way to house the most seeds on the face of the flower. The more seeds you are able to house, the more future sunflowers are possible. You will also find that the leaves on the stalk follow a spiral pattern. This could be to maximize the amount of the sun they can collect by spreading themselves strategically around the stalk. Who knew flowers were so smart? How to spot Fibonacci spirals. You can see the Fibonacci sequence in action in some natural spirals. Take this pine cone, for instance, count the spirals going in one direction. Now, try counting the spirals going in the other direction. So, what numbers did you get? We counted 8 going one way and 13 going the other way. The numbers 8 and 13 are both Fibonacci numbers. You can even do this with a sunflower, although it will take longer.
Two types of spiral in nature. Firstly, a little distinction: spirals in nature occurs in many forms, but for us to find them, it is helpful to think of just two concepts: a flat curve and a 3D spiral, also known as a helix. Spirals in rocks. Here you are looking for the flat curve spiral. What the tourist industry along the UK's Dorset coastline is built on fossils. There are many fossil types, but the ammonite fossil is the spiral we are looking for and easily found along this stretch of this Jurassic coast in the UK, both in calcite and pyrite. Forms it's worth a day trip. For example, calcite fossil and fossil imprint in beef rock. Spirals in plants. Plant forms have both types of spirals that we observe. You can clearly see the spiral as a flat curve in ferns, but also as a 3D spiral in petals, as they unfurl around the flower bud. There is nothing more glorious than seeing those young ferns unfurl in early spring, often called a fiddle fern because of the resemblance to a violin scroll. There are so many fern types to see. These tiny delicate spirals are the pistils that are part of the reproductive ovary of the magnolia plant. These spirals in nature are the tendrils of pea plant, although appearing to be an insignificant part of the plant. This is an example of helix when in use. Spirals in nature seeds. Flowers often display a spiral pattern. Also, at the other end of the flower cycle, the seed formation often clearly presents a multitude of interconnected spirals, painting in the spirals onto the pine cones. It's a simple nature craft that encourages the observations skills and involves the hands and the eyes. Close up of a tansy flower showing interconnected spirals in nature.
spirals in the shells. Seashells, wicks, and periwinkles, top shells, limpets. There are so many variations to be found of just these types, which you will see clearly how a spiral is the home of the mollusks that created it. Also look for the bivalve shells, mussels, clams, which kakis to the name just a few. Often you will only find one half, which we call the shell, but you can see very easily how this article, the shape of shells, is made, and that actually that bivalve are also spirals. Spirals in animals. Thrilled to spot this spiral in the tail of the Jackson's chameleon, snail shells come close to the mollusks of seashells. So many variations in pattern decoration. Okay, so in the image below, they painted the spiral onto the snail, but it was not just an activity to find the spiral in nature on the snail shells, but also to work out how many snails live in our area. An activity from Wildlife Watch the features on January 29 of the 365 nature journals from the Smart Happy Project.
Spirals in space. Birds of prey are known to descend in a spiral movement as they home in on their prey because of needing to always keep the prey in sight. There are spiral galaxies in outer space we still know so little about. Air flows in spirals around objects, and water will form in a vortex spiral down your plug hole. Waves on the seashore are spirals that every surfer knows how to read. Next, spirals in me. Although few of us ever see it, the inner ear is spiral shaped, and the DNA cell structure is a double helix. But of course, many of us have curly hair that falls in spiral reglets. And look carefully and you will see it the spring from the crown of your head in a spiral direction.
I appreciate the creation of God when I see a beautiful scenery such as mountains, sea, clouds, trees, and animals. I immediately take picture of it to serve as my remembrance that I saw such a beautiful creation of God.
I appreciate God's creation by taking care of it, especially our nature, in where the nature is our sole supplier, providing our food, water, medicine, materials for shelter, and even natural cycles such as climate and nutrients.
Being thankful to Him and always going to church. There are many ways to show your appreciation and love for His creations. Always remember that God has a good plan for us, and by being a good person, you can show your appreciation.
How do you appreciate God's creation? There are many ways to show appreciations to God. for the beautiful earth He created for all to enjoy. But for me, I appreciated this by being a good steward of our environment. Acting as caretakers and agents of cleanliness is sure way to say thank you, Lord, for the marvelous blessing of today.
Appreciate God's creation by protecting and loving it, especially in nature.